Hello and welcome to Fact of the Matter 2012. I'm your host, Dan Bixler. First, I'd like to congratulate our president on his second-term victory. Tonight, Audra and Dana will start us off by getting some local opinion from both the town of Bloomsburg and the university. Let's get real.
Hi, I'm Audra Briggs, reporting for Fact of the Matter 2012. Today is Election Day, and I'm standing in front of the Care Union building on Bloomsburg University's campus. Behind me, inside these doors, students are voting at the polls right now. I'm about to go ask some students how they felt about voting in the 2012 presidential election. Hi, and what's your name?
Nasik.
Nasik? And what year and what major are you here at Bloomsburg?
I'm a junior here, mass communications major.
Mass communication. I'm mass communications too.
Yeah.
And you voted today. How did you feel? Was it your first time voting?
My very, very first time.
Very first time. Same for me.
I was excited. I was a little nervous about, especially this election, because it's kind of close.
It's pretty close. That's what I heard too.
I'm pretty anxious about it, but I felt ready to go and get myself my vote in there, and yeah.
Have you been keeping up with the debates?
Yeah, I tried to catch each one when they came on.
What did you feel? How did you feel about them? Any specific?
I feel like the one thing that stood out to most to me was how rude they were to each other during the during the debates. It's like that kind of distracted me from all the issues that they were talking about, which is really, really bad. But
I understand what you mean. It was a little hard to keep track of what was going on. You were like, oh, did they really just point fingers at each other? I know what you mean. So why do you think overall it's important for students to vote?
I feel like during this election there's a lot of apathy where people feel like there's a lot of people that are voting, so I don't really have to get out of bed and go to vote, but you do. You have to go. If you don't vote, you won't be able to complain about who wins. So you got to get out there.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Lashery Snyder.
Lashery's?
Lashery.
Lashery?
Yes.
Okay. And what's your year and what major are you here?
I am a senior and I'm an anthropology major.
Anthropology?
Yes.
So I saw that you voted today. Was it your first time voting?
Yes, it was.
How are you feeling right now?
Kind of nervous and kind of happy at the same time. So that's pretty good. A good feeling.
It was my first time voting today too.
Yeah.
So I was like a little nervous about working the little voting thing. I was like, what if I do it wrong?
No, I kind of messed up, and the people had to come and fix it.
Oh, it's okay. We got it fixed.
Yeah.
And why do you think it's important for students to vote?
I think it's important for students to vote because we need a good leader to help us follow our goals and our dreams as Americans, and also will help benefit us in the future, as in far as our decisions or war or healthcare or anything. So we just need a good person on our side. That's it.
And have you kept up with the debates? Did you watch them on TV or online?
Yes.
And what did you feel about them? How did you feel after you watched them?
At first it was kind of confusing because I'm not really into politics, but as they went more and more detail and said how they really felt about certain things, it really hit me. I really need to vote. I can really make a difference.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, and I'm so glad you voted today.
Thank you.
Hi, and what's your name?
Kim Wooden.
Kim? And what's your year? What major are you here at Bloomsburg?
I'm a senior. I'm transferring into the exercise science department.
Okay, well that's awesome. And you just voted today, right?
Yes.
How are you feeling when you were in there? What emotions were going through you?
I've never really done it before, so it was kind of new experience, I guess.
A new experience? So it was your first time voting?
Yes.
And how do you feel now? Do you feel accomplished?
Yeah. Yeah.
And did it take you a long time to decide who to vote for, or did you know from the beginning?
I pretty much knew from the beginning.
And what sources did you use mostly to keep informed about the election? Did you watch the debates?
I watched the debates. I went on the internet, stuff like that.
Okay, so you researched the candidates to
Yeah.
make sure
Yeah.
that you were making the right decision.
Yes.
And could you tell me, why do you think it's important for students to vote?
I feel like it's our right. As citizens, I feel like it's our right to vote, and we fought for that right, so I feel like we should take advantage of it.
I agree with you. Thank you so much for being on the show, Kim.
Not a problem.
Hi, and what's your name?
Chris Heskett.
Chris, and what's your year and what major are you?
I'm a senior and I'm an exercise science major.
And was today your first time voting?
For presidential, yes.
For presidential election? How do you feel right now? Do you
Pretty
feel
good. Yep.
Were you nervous at all?
No, not really.
Did you know for a while who you were going to vote for, or did it take you a while to decide?
I've known for a while, yeah.
Did you keep up with the debates at all?
Yes.
What did you think of them? What was your overall opinion?
They were fine. I'm not a big debate person. Usually I go online or
Oh,
watch
do you have a favorite TV station or a website?
CNBC.
CNBC?
Yes. Yeah.
And why do you think it's important for students to vote in the election, especially the presidential election?
Because it's our right. Everyone should vote because not everyone in the world has this opportunity.
I agree with you. Thank you so much, Chris, for
Yep.
being on the show.
No problem.
Hi, and what's your name?
Jess McFadden.
And what year and what major are you here at Bloomsburg?
I'm a junior and I'm an early childhood special education major.
And I just saw that you were leaving voter polls, and
Yes.
was it your first time voting today?
It was
Were you excited? How were you feeling when you were in there?
I was nervous, I was excited, I was like, I hope I don't get this wrong.
And did it take you a long time to decide who to vote for this year, or did you know for a while?
I think through watching the debates and things like that, like I had a set mind and my set opinion in my head
Yeah.
already of what I like, and I just went with whoever was going towards the morals and values that I have.
What was your favorite station to watch the debates on? Did you have a specific one, or did you just kind of watch whatever you could get?
Kind of was into CNN was on
CNN?
all the time.
Yeah.
I recorded it for like a week on my DVR. So
That's good, though. It's good to keep up with what's happening and be informed.
Yeah, right.
And why do you think it's important for students to vote?
because when we get out of college, we are what's left. We are starting in the country as real adults in the workforce, and we have to be aware of what's going on around us, because if you don't vote and you don't make sure that you have a voice, how can you complain about anything?
That's so true, and I completely agree with you. Thank you for being on the show right now.
Thank you.
Well, you can see that there's a mixture of emotions for students here at the Bloomsburg University Care Union polls. Now I'm going to send it to Dana Gross, who's reporting from the Caldwell Consistory in downtown Bloomsburg.
Hi, I'm Dana Gross reporting for Fact of the Matter 2012 here at the Caldwell Consistory in downtown Bloomsburg, where the Bloomsburg residents are coming out to vote. Let's see what they have to say. Hi, what's your name?
Sarah Hunter.
Hi, Sarah, and are you a resident here at Bloomsburg?
Yep,
Okay. And you're here to vote today?
I sure am.
Have you been following the election?
Not really, just watching pieces here and there to get a little idea.
Nice. Have you known who you're going to vote for a while now, or did it take a little research on your part?
I knew for a while I was gonna vote for Obama.
You're going to vote for Obama? Okay. And why do you think it's important for people to vote?
Because it's our right. There's a lot of people who died and fought for our right to vote for who we want to lead our country, and I feel like I need to do my part because they did theirs.
Okay. Well, thank you for talking with us today. Hi, what's your name?
My name's Patrick Ganey.
Do you go to Bloomsburg University?
Yeah.
Okay. Is this your first time voting?
Yes.
Okay. Have you been following the election? Have you been watching the debates?
Yeah, I've been watching the debates ever since the first one. The turning point for my decision was the one at Hofstra University. I really thought that Barack really didn't do a very good job, and Romney really kind of won my vote there.
Why do you think it's important for people to vote?
I think it's important for us to vote because of the direction that we're headed in, or we could be headed in. I think that if you want the country shaped a certain way, you should do the right procedure to do so, and that's why we have voting. And you have this right, and you should take full advantage of it.
And have you been loyal to any station to get your information from?
No, I pretty much do all my own research. I try not to do any CNN or Fox News. They tend to be a little too left or too right for me. So.
Well, thank you for talking with us.
All right, thank you.
Hi, what's your name?
Jimmy.
And are you a resident here at Bloomsburg?
No, I'm a student.
You're a student?
Mhm.
And are you voting today?
Yeah, I just did actually.
You just did?
Mhm.
Okay. Did you follow the election?
Yeah, I followed it pretty closely. I watched all the debates and everything. I was more concerned with the presidential election, but I voted for everything, and I followed it a lot. I like to, especially the ones around here, like the Dan Noor state representative one. I paid a lot of close attention to that one.
Did you have a station that you're most loyal to when you're doing your research for the election?
Not really. I like to keep an open mind. I don't want to pick a certain party or whatever. I know when you get in there, they ask you if you want to just go all Republican or all Democratic, and I chose not to. I wanted to keep my options open.
Why do you think it's important for people to vote?
Well, I think it's really important for people to vote. People have the right, and I know a lot of countries don't have the right to vote, so you have to exercise your rights, and you can't really have an opinion unless you come out here and you exercise it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for talking to us.
No problem.
Hi, what's your name?
My name's Damien.
And are you here to vote today?
I am.
Have you known for a while who you're going to vote for?
Pretty much since the other election.
Since the other election? Okay. Have you been following the election, like the debates and everything?
Very closely.
Very closely. Why do you think it's important for people to vote?
It's one of the, it goes back in history. It's one of the most important rights for people in America. It's something that not a lot of people get to do in other countries. And even if I don't agree with your political opinion, I still think it's important for you to vote.
Well, thank you for talking with us, and good luck voting.
Thanks.
Hi, what's your name?
Larry Long.
And are you a resident here in Bloomsburg?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And you're here to vote today?
Yes.
How long have you known who you're going to vote for? Did you have to do any research?
It's more who you're voting against than who you're voting for.
Okay, that's good to know. Have you been loyal to any particular station to get your research for this upcoming election?
No, I watch everything.
Why do you think it's important for people to vote?
Because if you don't vote, you don't have a reason that you can complain later. So as long as you vote, at least you have either win and you say I won, or you lose and then you got 4 years you can complain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Well, thank you very much for speaking with us, and good luck voting.
Okay, thank you.
What's your name?
I'm James Sangler.
And are you a resident here in Bloomsburg?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Have you known who you're going to vote for a while?
I'd say about a month.
About a month. Have you been following the election, like the debates and?
Yeah, I have been as much as I could. And I feel like I have been.
Have you been loyal to any particular station when you've been doing your research to prepare for the election?
No, I haven't. No, I've been bouncing around.
You've been bouncing around. Okay. And why do you think it's important for people to vote?
I think it's important because if we are going to voice our opinion about something, we have to actually go out there and try and make a change. So voting gives us that opportunity. So that's why I think it's important.
Okay. Well, thank you for speaking with us, and good luck voting.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us this week on Get Real. See you next time.
Hello and welcome to Common Ground. I'm your host, Dan Bixler. Today, I get to sit down with our friend Dr. Neil Strine to ask him his thoughts on the election. Good evening and welcome to Common Ground. I'm your host, Dan Bixler. Tonight, I get to sit back down with Dr. Neil Strine from the Political Science Department and get to talk to him about the election, the results, and just general politics and have a nice discussion. So, Dr. Neil Strine, first of all, thank you again for coming on the show. And who were you rooting for this election, if you are okay with letting the people know who you voted for and everything?
Sure, Dan. First of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me on your program. I think this is the second time, the first time actually I've been invited back to a program, so thank you.
No problem.
Hopefully this is the start of many good things happening in my life. This is good, so thank you.
Yeah.
I'm happy to share with you who I voted for. I supported Mitt Romney. Mm-hmm. And obviously I was rooting for him to win. I thought that he did have a chance to win the debate given the dynamics of the race that changed after the first presidential debate. Mm-hmm. But I voted for Romney and was hoping Romney would win for a variety of reasons. Number one, the state of the economy, the way the economy is right now. Second reason, with international affairs and our foreign relations with the that the United States has with other countries, particularly the turmoil that's going on in the Middle East. Look at gas prices, energy prices on the rise. So overall, in my mind, the United States is in decline the past 4 years. So, we needed a positive message, somebody has a record of job creation, as a successful business person, to come in and turn things around. But obviously, it didn't work out. As I told my classes this morning, those of you who are disappointed, as I am disappointed, tomorrow's another day. Mm-hmm. The world, I don't think it's going to come to an end. Right. Basically what we're going to have is more of the same that what we've had the past 2 years with the Republican House of Representatives.
Like you were saying, the world isn't coming to an end and everything. So, I know my generation sees all the time, social media, Facebook statuses, Twitter updates, whatever. People saying, oh, now that Obama's back in, this country's, in a downward spiral and stuff. So you're saying that people shouldn't freak out like that. Why do you think that people shouldn't really react that way?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's good to be. It's normal to be disappointed, you know, if you're on my side of the fence. But the fortunate thing, or the positive thing, at least for the Republicans who are rooting for Mitt Romney, if there is any kind of positive, is that they did retain control of the House of Representatives. So Barack Obama cannot do anything he wants, at least, you know, with spending. The House Republicans can hold his...
Not like his first 2 years.
Not like his first 2 years, right. So so I guess we could say that we're still in a checkmate situation in terms of decision-making in Washington. So from that perspective, I mean, that's something that we could, you know, hang our hat on, I guess. The other thing that we should not be terribly, I mean, a loss is a loss, which is not fun, but it was much closer this time, the election, significantly closer than 2008.
Yeah, number-wise, John McCain was a lot less compared to Romney when it came to the electoral votes and everything.
Right. So, you know, and I guess that's it. You know, we know that we only have another, I guess, 4 years of Barack Obama, that the Republicans still maintain control of the House of Representatives, at least for the next 2 years. And I think we're a resilient country, and I think the beauty of the United States is, you know, we can have two vehemently opposed parties in an election, and the night of the election, the loser can come out and say, you know, I congratulate the winner, and we can do this in a peaceful process. So that's the great part of, you know, being in the United States. But the United States can survive. We'll make it through the next 4 years.
And with what you were saying there, he definitely brought it a lot closer than John McCain did 4 years ago. And I know that a lot of people say that was basically from the first debate, like the fire from that, like, still carrying through and everything. Right. And the thing that people need to also realize about this election, like the popular vote and everything, it was very, very, like 49% to 49% for the longest time and everything. And I'm pretty sure that's where it ended up being around for both of them, was 49%. So you really do have two very different views and a nation that's pretty much divided almost right down the middle, it seems.
Yeah. There for a while, after Obama had been declared the winner by several media outlets, for a while there, Romney was maintaining a lead in the popular vote.
Yeah.
That's right, and you know, and I was thinking there for a second, oh my goodness, we could have another 2000, you know, year 2000 situation, you know, where the winner of the popular vote does not win the Electoral College. So yeah, it does demonstrate how closely divided we are as a country. And Barack Obama did, I guess, have around a 49% approval rating, and that's actually kind of where we see, you know, his vote is.
One of the big reasons that at least I thought was during the first Republican primaries, like, what do you say when he's the incumbent? Like, he doesn't have to go back and do all those primary debates and everything, and I feel like the Republicans really kind of almost bashed themselves into the ground, because a lot of things that they were saying, it was like, you know, cutthroat, because they want the primary candidacy, so they're all going to come out with all their stuff and everything. So do you think that had any type of impact at all too?
Oh, absolutely. There's actually research, political science research out there that actually looks at, you know, the effect that a competitive primary will have on the winner of that primary in the general election. So because Mitt Romney had a bruising primary, it did go late. It wasn't until, March or April that we knew that he was going to be the nominee. He did take some major hits from the other candidates in the, you know, in the primary campaign, and that could have contributed to the turnout as well, or to the result. But the research generally does show that when somebody has a strong primary opponent and the other party candidate does not, then that does go to the advantage or to the disadvantage of the person who had the primary competition. So I think that could have played a role in that as well. So yeah, his competition in the primary. Sure.
And do you think, I know that a lot of political analysts and everything on TV and everything last night, a lot of people were saying that Romney was almost a transitional candidate, where it was more like, okay, like he's done his thing now, but like who feel like they almost are looking forward to who the next candidate is going to be, and some people are saying that Ryan might have been modeled like just from this thing to be a possible standout 4 years from now. Do you think that that's a possibility, or do you think that that's just, you know, people saying like, oh, he was basically running for vice president, so he probably wants to be president one day or something like that?
The Republican voters generally give the second runner, the runner-up, the last election, they usually select them as their nominee for the next time. So 2000, John McCain lost to George W. Bush, and so in 2008 they said, okay, well now we're going to give it to John McCain. 2008 election, the primary was really between John McCain and Mitt Romney. Mike Huckabee was in there too, but ultimately Mitt Romney came in second. So now they've handed the mantle to Mitt Romney, who went, and you know, and so there really is. I would argue that there really is no runner-up really this time. And as you point out, you know, that the field is really wide open for 2016 in the Republican field. I think that clearly Paul Ryan has established himself as, you know, as a very strong vice presidential candidate, and he would make a very formidable candidate in 2016. I think my pick for 2016 is actually Chris Christie from New Jersey.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think that he is. I think he's going to be part of the next leadership of the party.
So I know that like the media can spin a lot of stuff and everything like that, but one thing that I feel like we didn't really see a lot in this election at all was third-party candidates like, well, Ron Paul this year registered Republican, but also like Gary Johnson and things like that. But as a Republican, like I know a lot of Republicans say that libertarian is almost just like a more extremist conservative value. So do you feel like those type of people would almost take those votes, and why do you think that those type of people are like almost shunned out of the media and just kind of left like off to the side? Like we didn't see anything at all of Ron Paul almost, and he was second, I think, in the primaries for a while when they were first doing the primary debates and everything.
Yeah. The first question is, do they take votes away? That argument is made. Actually, Ralph Nader was accused in 2000 of costing Al Gore the election in Florida. And you know, you could make the argument that if Gary Johnson and these other, we'll call them almost conservative candidates, do take away.
They're libertarians, but they've been on the Republican ballot, and they kind of switch back and forth.
Right. My thoughts on that are that the libertarian movement are pretty much a group unto themselves. Like these are people who probably would not vote if there was not a libertarian on the candidate. So basically, I think they're drawing from voters who would not otherwise vote. The second issue that you brought up was about, you know, us shunning the third party. You know, you don't hear much about the third party candidates, and you know, we have, you know, a tradition in the United States of having a two-party system. And while many people say that we need to have more parties, we need to have a third party, you know, candidate and everything. And you know, I respect that view, but just historically, and then that's the way it is. So we have tradition of having just two parties, so we don't really worry about the third party. You know, that's a throwaway vote.
Do you think that there'll ever be a time in America where we'll see the third party make a rise, or at least get like more of a national attention?
I really don't think so, because just the way our electoral system is set up, you know, we have single-member districts, winner take all, and you know, there's no prize for second or third place. So if you have a party who's continually coming in third place, it's not going to work. The second problem is that the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, who controls the state legislatures and who controls Congress, they've written laws to keep the third parties out of contention, because they like it just being those two parties.
Okay.
So the answer to your question is no. I don't think that third parties. If a third party would arise, it would be to replace one of the other two political parties that we have.
All right, well, thank you very much for joining us today, Dr. Strine, and thanks for being on the show again.
You're welcome.
And,
thanks for having me back.
Hey, no problem.
I'm going to stake my claim to fame now on your program. So
all right.
Thanks for having me.
Now we'll take it over to Tony for this week's edition of Get Down.
With the 2012 presidential election now behind us and Barack Obama being re-elected into his second term, there are bound to be mixed opinions from the opposing party. I sat down with a member of the college Republicans, Josh Hooks, in order to hear his thoughts on the outcome of this year's election.
Let me first start out by saying I am a Republican, but I did vote for Barack Obama. The reasons why I voted for Barack Obama is because I felt as though my candidate from my party did not have what we would call the elements to be the next president of the United States. I felt that Barack Obama, especially through some of the debates, not just him, but him and also his vice president, they both brought some really continuing good ideas to the table, but they also brought that oomph that the United States not just needed to hear, but they really brought some really good things to the table, and I think that they will hopefully proceed with those things. I originally, when I first started to get into the mode of being able to vote for the first time, I did think originally that Barack Obama was not going to be able to win this race because of his political background as far as being the past 4 years. But once I had seen that the electoral votes were coming in very heavily, that's when I started to really notice that Barack Obama did have a solid win on this. It was very shocking to me. Not too shocking, but I was kind of surprised, especially when it came to the very close tie of the popular votes. And I think that is something that really got him this win, was not because of the popular votes, because of the electoral votes and where those electoral votes came from. There's something that they also mentioned this on the news as well. Something that I believe, as the newscasters were going over this, something that Barack Obama did was he might have not got. He got where he needed to get. And they talked a lot about this, that he went to those sections where he knew that he can get those people. That's something that Mitt Romney failed to do. There were some sections that he needed to get in order to get not just the electoral votes, but also ahead in the polls as far as the popular votes. And those are some of the things that Mitt Romney did not do. So I think those are some of the things that hindered Mitt Romney from getting this election.
After speaking with Josh about the results of the election itself, I asked him what he considered to be the most vital issues for Barack Obama to address at the start of his second term.
Definitely healthcare. Now that he can oversee his Obamacare, I think it was something that he should definitely be very cautious over. He should definitely start working on education. That's something that he talked about a lot in some of his debates. And there are many students who are going to be trying to go into grad school and trying to get, because now that they've seen that he is now the president of the United States, so they now expect him to uphold his name as the president of the United States. He talked much about trying to get people to get more involved into education. So not just in the higher education, but also in secondary education as well. So those are some of the things that we hopefully that he's going to take care of when he first gets into office.
Although this is only one member's views, hearing positive thoughts on Obama's victory from a Republican gives hope for a restored America in the coming years. With high aspiration, we'll have to wait and see if what the president has in store for our country gets us to where we need to be. That's all for me tonight. Now back to Dan.
Thanks, Tony. For all of us here at BUTV Channel 8, I'm Dan Bixler. May the vote be yours.
People have good hearts. During times of disaster, they donate food, clothing, and other necessities. However, this leads to the cost of packing, transportation, and storage, which is why money is more effective. Give with your heart. Cash is best. For more information, visit www.cidi.org.